Hello, in this video I cover a PragerU video that was uploaded to the PragerU channel. It's only about 2 minutes long. It's about a video about Robert E. Lee and why a statue should stay up. The video is absolutely terrible to say the least, and is borderline pro-slavery, I shit you not. I know that sounds like an exaggeration, but it really isn't when you look at the contents of the video. Everything in this video was streamed on my Twitch, which will be in the description. Also, most people who watch aren't even subscribed, so if you aren't subscribed, please do. It helps a lot. They've released a new video that I can't believe is actually real, called Who Was Robert E. Lee? I heard about this last night. I can't believe I'm actually saying this, but, this, I shit you not, is unironically a pro-slavery video. That's basically what it is. Never in the video do they say slavery is good, but they basically are right there to saying it. It's really bad. So it's about why we shouldn't take down the statues of Robert E. Lee and other Confederates. Some of the shit that's said in this it's only 2 minutes, but it might be the worst PragerU video out there since it's so masked off. I can't believe they actually made this. We'll watch this, and I have a few things to point to. There are some things that are misleading about Robert E. Lee. There are some things that just aren't true, and it's very disturbing.
Statues of great historical figures, like Robert E. Lee, are being torn down across America.
Good.
Here are some facts about Lee that remind us why his statue should remain.
Alright, so it starts off saying, basically, Robert E. Lee statue should not be taken down. And now, keep in mind that everything they're about to list right now they're saying is a positive and is a reason why a statue should remain.
Robert E. Lee was connected to George Washington through
No
his
one
father,
cares.
Light Horse Harry Lee.
We don't make statues of every Washington relative. It's coming in a minute.
Today, it is the site of Arlington National Cemetery. After 30 years of military service, Lee led U.S. Marines to crush the attempted slave rebellion by radical abolitionist John Brown.
Oh no. Yeah, they insinuate in the video that him leading the U.S. Marines to crush the attempted slave rebellion is actually a good thing. But they attempt to say that it's actually a good thing. And yes, radical for human rights. I like how they said radical abolitionist, like that's bad. It's bad to be a radical abolitionist. But they say that one of the facts on why his statue should stay up is that he led to crush the attempted slave rebellion led by radical abolitionist John Brown. Why did they put radical? It doesn't land, especially when it comes to abolitionism. If you call someone a radical abolitionist and say that they're in the wrong, and you say that someone's statue should stay up because they crushed an attempted slave rebellion, that is really bad. Radical abolitionist, the only time it's ever, like, terms like that are ever said, are like certain history books. They'll maybe refer to certain people as radical when it comes to abolitionism. That's only during the context of it, like during the times that would have been considered radical. Keep in mind, radical does not mean bad. It just means different from the mainstream opinion. Like MLK was a radical. When they're saying radical here, they're insinuating it is bad because that's the only time they ever use the word.
21 co-conspirators had seized a federal armory, and all of them were killed or captured.
This is why Robert E. Lee statue should stay up. He crushed a slave rebellion and killed and captured every single person,
including John Brown, who was tried and hanged for treason. Lee deemed slavery a moral and political evil in any country, but considered it a greater evil to the white man than to the black race, since blacks are immeasurably better off here than in Africa.
So right here, they leave out half the quote, and also, it's already bad to begin with. They're saying this is a good thing. So Robert E. Lee supposedly said that that slavery was a moral and political evil in any country, but then he still didn't want to get rid of it. He There are many things of Robert E. Lee, and it's kind of like a whitewashing of history. He had slaves himself, and he was abusive to his slaves. He also believed that black people shouldn't be able to vote once slavery ended up being abolished. There are many examples of him basically just actually supporting slavery, but kind of like backing down. The claim that black people were immeasurably better off here than in Africa, I don't think that's true. I actually don't think that's true, because most of the slave conditions in Africa were actually better than some plantations in America. But I think the average black person back then actually would have been better off in Africa than America if they were a slave. So this seems like a weird argument, but he used this as a argument that slavery was a good thing for black people, which is terrible. But I mean, yeah, it's not very surprising that PragerU would push something like this. But it's a little surprising that they would like just do it so blatantly.
Virginia seceded in a close vote. Lee resigned his commission. Despite offers to command Union forces, Lee opted to organize the defense of his native state.
Again, this is a list of reasons of why it's good to keep his statues up. One of the good reasons is that even though being offered by the Union to fight for them, he didn't, and he fought for the Confederacy because his piece of land that he was born in, that we draw lines on a map on, was part of it. I'm sorry, you cannot make the excuse, oh, well, it was my home state, so it's okay if I fight to, like, keep slavery and all, so, and if I slaughter slaves and I slaughter, black soldiers that surrender, which is something he did. This whitewashing of Robert E. Lee and other Confederate generals came during Jim Crow, and some people still believe certain things today about them, where they weren't as bad as the central government of the Confederacy. But no, they were pretty bad. Robert E. Lee was not a good person.
After 4 years as Confederate commander, Lee became an icon of reconciliation upon his surrender.
After years of war and conflict, Adolf Hitler became an icon of reconciliation upon his suicide. No, you don't become an icon of reconciliation because you've surrendered. It's not like he surrendered, like, oh, under principle, I cannot engage in this conflict no longer. No, it's that they were losing and they had blatantly lost.
As president of Virginia's Washington College, he favored education for freed slaves but opposed their right to vote.
Again depicted as a good thing. Yeah, that's bit of a bro moment. Here's some things that I found. I found in something from the Atlantic, and I normally don't look at the Atlantic, but they had something that I found pretty interesting about Robert E. Lee that I looked at when I watched this video. At first, I think last night. They talk about how the history of him has been whitewashed. They talk about what I just said of Jim Crow. And overwriting history and what actually happened. Here's the quote that was earlier in the video. So here's how he displayed the quote. Where is it? Here's how they displayed the quote in the video.
Slavery, a moral and political evil in any country, but considered it a greater evil to the white man than to the black race, since blacks are immeasurably better off here than in Africa.
So, if you want to see the whole quote, it's, I think it, however, a great evil to the white man than to the black race, and while my feelings are strongly enlisted in behalf of the latter, my sympathies are more for the former. The blacks are immeasurably better off here than in Africa, socially and physically. The painful discipline they are undergoing is necessary for their instruction as a race, and I hope will prepare and lead them to better things. However long their subjugation may be necessary is known and ordered by a wise, merciful providence. Their emancipation will sooner result from mild and melting influence of Christianity than the storms and tempests of fiery controversy. Basically, what he's saying is, oh, don't worry, emancipation, the time will come, but if you do it right now, it'll actually end up hurting you. It's better for you. It's gaslighting. That's what that is. Basically saying, oh, I think it's evil, but it's necessary, and it's actually better for black people to be enslaved, and because they're not smart enough to be on their own. That's what he's saying. Yeah, argument here is that slavery is bad for white people and good for black people. Better than, and then it's better than abolitionism. I don't care about your nuanced, big brain take on slavery if what you're doing, in effect, still supports slavery. The video doesn't really cover that. I wonder why.
Lee died from a stroke in 1870 and his
I found this funny.
opposed their right to vote. Lee died from a stroke in 1870.
Lee died from a stroke!
His legendary warhorse Traveler rests in a plot nearby.
Yeah, but then it ends. That's actually the video they rolled out, a 2-minute short video, essentially pro-slavery. Yeah, that's something they actually posted.